Hey, I'm September Smith, and this is the She's All That podcast, Season 2. As always, conversations with women doing awesome shit is the foundation of my podcast. And in this transition season to a post-pandemic world, my guests are business owners combining their agile business jobs, their expertise, and their insight to offer their clients innovative solutions for the post-pandemic business reality. Each and every one brings a fresh edge to business that you'll want to hear about. Welcome to the She's All That video podcast. This season, we're talking to women who are doing some edgy things in business. And my guest today is Karen Yankovich. Karen is the host of the Good Girls Get Rich podcast, which I love. And she's the founder of the She's Linked Up family of programs. Now, Karen, having been quoted in Huffington Post, Social Media Today, and other publications, it's obvious that's why you're known as the LinkedIn go-to. How did you even get started with LinkedIn?
Yeah, well, it's, it was certainly not anything that was planned or organized and predicted, that's for sure. But my background is in IT. So back in the, 90s, I owned a small IT firm, and being a woman in the IT industry, I was one of the only women. So I really had to learn how to appear confident. Right? That was something that I had to learn in order to be able to have any level of success at all. Right. So when we moved into this digital world and I was helping people with their digital brands and their digital, media, digital marketing, I found myself, even though I was working with them generally on their marketing, I found myself saying, wait, hang on, people want to know more about the people behind the business. So I was sending people back to LinkedIn all the time. And what I didn't realize was what I kind of grew up in sales learning, how to be confident, it was something that a lot of other people still needed to learn, right? So to me, blending those couple things, I found myself starting everybody at LinkedIn, even no matter what their marketing plans were. So it's like, even if you make the best pens in the world, people want to know more about you, right? We live in a different world than we lived in 20, 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. So I started focusing everybody on LinkedIn initially. And then as I started to get asked to speak about on LinkedIn all over the place, and, eventually I niched my business down to that for a lot of reasons. But the biggest reason really was because the better I got at it, the more focused I was at it, the better I could help people, right? I instead of having to be like a jack of all trades, I could really learn a lot about this. And I think that in many ways, I was in the right place at the right time, because...
So when was that roughly, when you really started?
Well, probably about 10 years ago, but I would say 5 years ago was when I really niched down on LinkedIn. And listen, I can definitely be lured by shiny objects. But I have really learned that the more I let myself be lured by shiny objects, the lower my bank balance gets. So I really feel that, as a woman of my age in business, and I think this goes for people that are not women and that are not my age as well, but I feel that for me, the more I could be a specialist in something, the simpler my life is, the less I have to, not that I don't work as many hours, but I don't have to be scrambling all the time to figure things out, because I'm really getting better at what I do. So staying away from the shiny object syndrome has helped me considerably.
It's so hard. It's like, look, new toys.
Yeah. But then, I literally, it's a big part of my day is to focus on what I really want. Right?
But LinkedIn actually, for me, has become like a new shiny object, because, I was shocked to find out that it actually launched 18 years ago last month. Like, what? Who knew? I hadn't even heard of it till 2010 when I joined. But for the longest time, people were thinking, LinkedIn, it's just where you go if you need to look for a job, or I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but it seemed up until recently, in the last couple of years, it could be a pretty static business platform, but it didn't really seem to be more than just go there, read some stuff, and leave. Well, so what's going on with LinkedIn right now?
So Microsoft bought LinkedIn a few years ago, and that shifted the dynamics, because Microsoft is very good at graphical user interfaces and how, the user experience, right? So I think that Microsoft's impact has shifted quite a bit. But I think that the biggest shift that we've seen in LinkedIn in the past, say, 5 years has been from resume to brand, right? Initially, LinkedIn was where your digital resume lives. And your resume is all about who you used to be, right?
Right.
What you really want to project to the future is the person that you're becoming, right? Dressed for the job you want, not the job you have. Nobody really cares what you did 5 years ago, nor does it matter if it's not relevant to what you're doing now. So
Exactly.
yeah, we want to talk about those things, but really more than anything, we want to shift the energy of our LinkedIn profile from resume to brand. And when you do that, now you're showing up more like an influencer, more like a leader, more like somebody worthy of my time and money, right? And I think that applies for everybody, whether you're just graduating college, whether you're looking for a promotion or a new job, or if you're an entrepreneur or a business owner. I think it applies to all of us. I think that LinkedIn is the one platform, I don't even really consider it social media, but I think it's the one platform that we all need to pay attention to and really focus on our brand, and make sure it's what we want to be seen like, right?
Exactly.
Right? So many people focus when you go into business on the brand of your business. What should my colors be? What font should I have? What's the energy? I need a copywriter, or all these things. But honestly, if the people behind your business have strong personal brands, that immediately elevates your business brand way more than your colors or your fonts ever will.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay. So LinkedIn is really changed. I mean, now you definitely, that's your business, and I feel it. I'm so much more interested in LinkedIn than I was before. I just see it as like
Right.
the business tool. Why is that particularly important now in this hopefully soon to be post-pandemic period? Why should people kind of really even shift more into the LinkedIn mindset?
Well, right place, right time, what I mentioned earlier. I mean, LinkedIn is virtual networking, right? What we've learned in the past year of being virtual is that it works. It doesn't mean we're never going to go back to in-person networking again. It doesn't mean that at all. But it does mean that maybe some of those trips don't need to happen. Maybe some of those conferences, you don't have to bring people into the office as much, right? So your virtual brand is even more important than it's ever been before, right? So, I hear people tell me all the time, by the way, not just occasionally, that they use LinkedIn. Like if they have a calendar, with people coming up on their calendar later that day, they'll go to LinkedIn and check the people out.
Oh yeah,
right?
definitely. Where else are you going to go? And if
right.
they're not there,
if you look, so everybody has on LinkedIn a dashboard, and that's no matter whether you have free or paid. If you look at your personal profile, you'll see a dashboard, and it tells you how many times your profile has been viewed and how many times you come up in search results.
mm-hmm.
If those numbers are anything other than zero, you are coming up. So why not create the best first impression you can? You wouldn't go to a networking event in person in your pajamas.
Yeah.
Right? So, well, yet we don't always take the time to create a really great, striking, and impactful first impression with our LinkedIn profile, which is very often our digital first impression.
Yeah. I think for a lot of people, it's hard. Like we almost need somebody like you who kind of knows LinkedIn, knows the flow of it, but also can look from the outside at you. I heard a great saying the other week. It's like, we can't see our talents because we've always been inside the jar. We can't read the label. It takes somebody like you to go like, this is how you need to show up on LinkedIn.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's very hard to write your own LinkedIn profile really shining a light on your achievements. It really is. And I'm not just saying that's not a self-serving statement, because we do profiles. It's really hard. And I can tell you that we've written LinkedIn profiles for just some of the most amazing people in the world. People that have been on, Forbes top 10 women who kind of thing. And then when it comes time to upload it, they say to me, I don't know, Karen, it feels like I'm bragging. I'm like, girl, you did all this stuff. Like, you did all this stuff. Let's showcase it. Let's own it. It's not bragging, it's owning it, right? And that's really one of the reasons why I focus on women, because women need a little bit more poke along those lines. We say things like, I got it. Don't worry about it. I got it. Men say, nobody does this better than me, right? And I'm not knocking men. It's not that at all. We need to be more like that, right? We need to be more like that, more confident. We're confident internally, but we're not as confident shouting that from the rooftops, which is why my podcast is named Good Girls Get Rich. When you know what you're good at and you shout that from the rooftops, that's where the abundance comes into your life. But when we hide it, I don't know, people aren't going to think you're better than you say you are.
Exactly. So, but I think, in all honesty, I think we've had now a quarter of a century of internet, and as women, most of us have internalized the fact that if you do kind of get out there too much and you're shouting anything about yourself, or really in some cases about anything in particular, it brings out the trolls. So there's that. I mean, you've got that kind of like, oh, I don't want to brag, but also like, oh, what are people going to say?
But you know what? Here's the deal. Oprah has trolls,
Yep.
right? Everybody the bigger your influence, the more that's going to happen. So I consider LinkedIn my money tree, and I think it could be yours and everyone that's listening. Those are the weeds. Don't let yourself don't let the weeds outshine the $100 bills, right? Like, just get rid of them, ignore them, pluck them, delete them, block them, do whatever you have to do, and focus on building relationships with powerful people coming from a place of strength and power.
Yeah.
And ignore all that other stuff, because it's going to happen when your visibility grows, when your influence grows. I believe your responsibility grows. And that's why people like you and me have podcasts, right? Because we have a message that we want to share. And as your visibility grows, it's just going to happen. It's just going to happen.
Yeah.
And for the, to the people that are telling me that I can hear them across the interwebs right now saying, my inbox is just full of spam. I will say to you, when was the last time you sent out a message? Because if all you're doing is being reactive to it, that's all you're going to have, right? Of course, that's all you're going to have. But when you start using LinkedIn to build relationships and reach out to people, not in a cold, spammy way ever, but in a warm, truly like benefiting both of you kind of way, your inbox, my LinkedIn inbox is more valuable than my actual inbox. It's where the business is. It's where the biggest opportunities are. So do I get spam? Yeah. And I ignore it, I delete it, or I block it. And then I for the money.
Yeah. So now, as I said, you've spoken from many stages and extensively on your own podcast about LinkedIn for business growth, but you focus on women. I mean, we've talked a little bit about that. For example, your tagline, helping women entrepreneurs and business professionals grow a profitable LinkedIn network. I've seen you've written women who are struggling to be seen and taken seriously, helping women create a magnetic and profitable LinkedIn strategy. I like that strategy. Why women in particular? I mean, I get it, you're a woman, but, how is it different than, say, working with a man who's wanting to utilize LinkedIn?
So I work with men. I don't care what your body parts are, how you identify. I don't really care at all. But I think that women don't feel as included on LinkedIn as I want them to. And I want women to feel more included. They feel that it's too left brain. They feel that it's too corporate. Yet what women typically are really good at is building relationships, right? Is talking to people. And I hear people say, like, from the massage therapist and yoga studio owner up to the Fortune 100 people, if they don't like sales, they just like to talk to people. Well, then just talk to people. Just be intentional about who they are, right? We're good at that.
Yeah.
So just build a little strategy around that. And LinkedIn is where that happens. Not Facebook, where everybody's pitching and it's all business and personal. LinkedIn's all business. Nobody's there unless they're there to grow their business, right? So you don't have to pitch your business. You just have to have a great LinkedIn profile that handles that for you. And then you can just build relationships and let your profile do some of the business heavy lifting for you. And then you're just building relationships on a level of, hey, I see we're both members of the Princeton Regional Chamber of Commerce. We've never got to meet in person, but it looks like you're doing some really cool stuff. I'd love to hear more about that, right? If your profile looks great, who's going to say no to that, right? But you do it intentionally. You do it in a really micro-targeted way. You don't reach out to everyone, right? And genuinely want to be of service to them as well. And women just don't do that as often as men. We feel that we're not included in that. And we get all these spam messages and we don't want to be that person either. So my personal mission is to let women know you don't have to do any of that. Like, you don't have to do any of that. And, and I have a head full of statistics. Women have come far in the last couple of years, right? Like, we've got a lot of really cool things have happened here in the US. We have a woman vice president, blah, 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 blah. And so there's a statistic that said the gender wage gap in 2019 was going to take 99 years for it to be equal. In 99 years, as the way things were going, the wage gap would be equal. 1 year later,
much worse now.
1 year later, after the pandemic, it's 136 years.
Yes,
an entire generation of women that now have to work a little bit harder to make as much money as men. So we have to take control of our own destinies. right? We have to. And I feel a little bit like I feel a little bit like Mary Poppins, our daughters will adore us. Like, I feel like we have to do this because we can't let it slide back any further.
Oh God,
and
no.
It's on us. And it's not, again, this is not man bashing. This is like women do not take control of their destinies. And my personal mission is to help them do that.
That whole thing of man bashing, I find it absolutely absurd that we are even triggered to say, oh, I'm not man bashing. Oh, I don't hate men. When you're talking about like a steaming pile of problem that we as women are looking at like, oh, sorry, we can't even talk about it. This is like,
it's important.
For real. The World Economic Forum in March estimated that women have gone back in their position in the workplace and in their by 50 years.
Wow. Yeah.
So we shouldn't be talking about that. That should be headlines.
But here's the thing. I really do think, though, there's a part of me that wants to say, and much of that is by our choice, right? Because a lot of women are choosing, now that things have changed, they're looking at the next chapter of their life saying, do I really want to do what I did in the last chapter of my life?
Yeah.
Right. And I'm cool with that if it's your choice.
Yeah.
Right. I want it to be your choice. And it's the day I was a single mom, raised 4 kids, had an hour commute each way. Like, I did the crazy stuff. Mm-hmm. And I look back at it and my kids talk about things like, I don't even remember it. Like, did that even happen? Right. Because I was just in this go mode. Right.
Yeah.
So I think what women are doing now is realizing that they don't have to do that and they have more choices. Yeah. But that's all the more reason that you have to take control of your own personal brand.
And get strategic.
Exactly. So that's why I focus on it. I think that women, I want to help them feel more included on LinkedIn. We know that, we've heard for many, many years, it's not what you know, it's who you know, right?
Yes.
Well, I think it's what you know. You need to know what you're doing, right? But at the same time, let's control the who you know. Let's meet people on LinkedIn that is going to elevate our network to the point where we're spending time with people, like I feel like I'm talking in cliches here, but there's the when you talk to a lot of women, I talk to them like, this is going to be my 7-figure year. This is going to be the year that I do this and I do that. But their energy is still, their aspirations are up here. Their energy is here. I like to help them raise their energy and meet their aspirations, right? You've got to start acting and thinking and being like that person. In fact, the last couple of podcasts that I just put out, the solo shows were around, what if LinkedIn was a part of your spiritual journey?
I saw that.
Right?
I saw that. That was actually a scroll stopper. It's like, what?
Right?
Go in and check it out.
And I feel like it is because we have to start being this person, not just talking the talk. We have to start walking the walk and hanging out with those people and feeling like we are worthy of hanging out with the coolest people and in our industries, right?
Yep.
And that's when the change starts to happen.
And LinkedIn is the portal to that?
I think so. A little bit Harry Potterish, right?
No, well, I mean,
no, I think it is.
I personally can't imagine where else it would be happening.
I agree. And it's, again, because it's all business and you're creating a brand of you. And then it's hard to imagine how simple it is until you do it. When you start to do it and you're like, I want people like, think big, like who's the person, whose show do you want to get on TV, whatever it is, who do you want to meet? Like I have one person in my program right now, and I don't know if this is public knowledge, but she's got her sites, she's in the healthcare industry. Yep. She's got her sites on a very well-known healthcare influencer. And she's like, I want a seat at his table. And 2 years ago, that wasn't even on her. She wouldn't have dreamed that was possible. But when you start to see yourself the way we see you, right? When your profile's coming out there, and then you start to build relationships at that level, anything's possible. You start to believe that anything's possible.
Now, I want to ask you about that relationship building. You had mentioned that, you got to have conversations and connect with people and be genuine and authentic. Do you also, but you had also mentioned about the free versus the paid. Do you also work with your clients or suggest that people buy one of the paid subscriptions to LinkedIn? And if so, how does that roll? How do they even choose which one?
Well, the only one you should ever buy is LinkedIn Sales Navigator, unless you are like a recruiter, but even if you're looking for a job, I think LinkedIn Sales Navigator, don't even waste your money on premium, go straight to Sales Navigator, because what Sales Navigator does is so LinkedIn, one of the things about LinkedIn that makes them unique is that they really are one of the only social media platforms that have not been on Capitol Hill defending their practices, right? They want you to be you, right?
That's so interesting. Oh my God, I
right?
hadn't even thought of
They
that.
don't
Wow.
they shut bots down as quickly as they can. Obviously they get through, there's still bots, but they shut the bots down. I have gotten, like, I don't even, nobody has my LinkedIn password but me. Like my assistants, nobody has it, because I've gotten messages that say, hey, why are you logged in here and here, right? So LinkedIn expects it to be you. So therefore, there's not a lot of ways to leverage your time, right? Sales Navigator allows you to leverage your time. Because, like, for example, let's say you are speaking at an event, and let's say the event is, in Austin, Texas, and it's for realtors, right? You may want to start connecting with realtors in Austin, Texas in advance of that event, right? And this is just a very high level, like, I don't think you probably want to do that cold, but anyway, let's just use that for example. So now, like, you do a search on LinkedIn and there's 1,000 realtors and you start connecting with them, right? With Sales Navigator, you can narrow that search down by only people active on LinkedIn. So it takes it from 1,000 to 400, right? And now when you connect with those, I don't know, I still don't want you to connect with all 400, but as you're connecting with people, you're connecting with people that you know are active. So you're not wasting your time. You're not connecting with people that might not even be alive, never mind active on LinkedIn, right?
Never even thought of that.
Navigator allows you to leverage your time. So there's all kinds of search functionality that you can get in Sales Navigator that you just don't get in the free version. So it leverages your time. It's $80 a month, so it's an investment, but honestly, the opportunities on LinkedIn are so huge that that's part of the mindset that I want you to get over. Like, $80 a month is going to save you hours and hours and hours of your time, and you are worth a whole lot more than that. So let's maximize because otherwise you're going to burn out and you're going to say, I'm sending out all these requests and nobody's accepting. Yeah, because you're sending them out to the free version and we don't even know if they're on LinkedIn, right?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. So Sales Navigator is a must. How long does it take the average person to kind of get up to speed with Sales Navigator? Is this like a really learning curve?
It depends. If you hire me, and we can do it in an hour, and I'm not saying you have to hire me, but if you know what you're doing, once you learn how to do it, there's not a lot of time to spend on it. But there's so many people that I hear that say, I've had sales, I've been paying for it for a year, I don't even know what to do with it, right?
Oh.
So I recommend, and I do have 2 podcast episodes though that talk about Sales Navigator. You can Google Good Girls Get Rich in Sales Navigator and find them.
I think I saw you at Podfest talking about it.
Probably.
I think that's where I first saw you.
Yeah. So, do a little homework, because there's probably things you won't even know are there if you didn't talk to somebody to show you how to do it. You can save searches. And the beautiful thing, like, let me just take you a couple steps down a search road. Let's say this realtor thing in Austin is a thing you're going to be doing for the next 5 years, right? So you find a search and you love this search. And there's, you've narrowed it down to people active and there's 80 people in the search, okay? You would think that as when you connect to 10 of them, that search would now drop to 20, to 70, right? But it doesn't, because you're looking for second degree people. And every time somebody becomes a first degree network person, their network becomes eligible for your search. So the search regenerates itself consistently. So you can do a great search on Sales Navigator, save it, and use it forever.
Oh, wow.
Forever. So there's so many things that if you kind of know what you're doing will save you so much time. Now, you do need it. You absolutely don't need it. You can do many of the things that you do, you probably don't need Sales Navigator for. But if you're going to be a LinkedIn power user, and when I say power user, I'm talking like 2-3 hours a week, not a ton of time. You want to maximize that time. And Sales Navigator helps you do that.
I would think that you'd really have to have a strategy if you're just going to be doing 2 or 3 hours and be semi-active, because it can eat up a large part of your day if you let it.
It can. Yeah, it can.
So I've seen that you've written that you help people flip the funnel and go for the highest ticket opportunities first.
Right.
What does that mean? And how do you teach people to do that on LinkedIn?
My trusty pen again. So let's say you sell pens, okay, and it's your $2 item, or your $50 item, or your $100 item, whatever it is, right? LinkedIn is not the place to sell your pen. It is the place to get a distributor that buys 5,000 of your pens, right? So you can go on Facebook or Instagram and say, hey, buy my pens. On LinkedIn, I want you to find a distributor, right? And so that's the mindset I want you to be on LinkedIn. When I work with people on LinkedIn, I feel like there's 3 levels of connections. The bottom level is actually buy my stuff. We all get those emails. Nobody wants those emails, right? But sometimes it makes sense to do that. So I'm not going to say never do that, but that is the very last strategy. Up one from that, and this is something that many people don't even think about, is publicity. Who writes about the kinds of things that you're an expert in? And are you building relationships with the journalists that write the articles, the podcast hosts, right? Those are some really powerful high ticket relationships, right? Let's just say let's say you have a group program and it costs you $100, it's a $100 a month program, right? You can spend an enormous amount of time on LinkedIn building relationships to try to find somebody to buy your $100 program, or you can build a relationship with somebody who's going to put you in front of their audience where 10 of those people might want your $100 program, right? So that's where, so that's the second level up. And the third up, and this is actually I probably should use that example there. The third up is partnerships. So publicity, podcast host, that's the middle one. And then the most powerful way to use LinkedIn is who else has an audience of people similar to the audience you're looking to attract? And how can you collaborate with them to get them in front of your people and to get you in front of their people? It could be as simple as having a LinkedIn live show, right? And inviting people that have an audience similar to what you do to your LinkedIn Live, but now their audience is watching it and they're introduced to you now, right? So technically you're doing them a favor, right? Not favor, but you're having them on your show. So it's a really nice way to build relationships, right? You're not pitching, interview me. You're saying, hey, I'd love to interview you, right? And but then that gets you in front of their audience. So there's just, that's what I mean by flip the funnel. Look for the bigger opportunities. And, as women, we often don't think big enough, right? I can think of my client Claire, that when she first joined us, she was working with corporations and she was doing leadership coaching for corporations. And first call I had with her, she said, I have this package I want to sell to corporations and it's a $5,000 package, but I know that you're going to want it to be a $10,000 package. So let's just call it a $10,000 package. I'm like, all right, cool. So it was a $10,000 package. What could you do for them? So we're building all this stuff out. And then I said to her, so what if it was a $20,000 package? And she said, well, then I could maybe bring their employees in for training and I can offer them these assessment tests. And like, she started rattling off all the other cool things that she could do. I go, there you go. That's win-win-win. Your customer's getting more value, right? They have budgets because it's a corporation. They have marketing budgets and leadership budgets and things like that. So why are you not thinking the biggest number you can think of, right? And then bringing it down from there. I don't want you to just charge more money. I want you to, if you've got a $20,000 package, let's make it $100,000 in value, right? But the next package, maybe you have a $100,000 package. And, I spoke to somebody today, one of my students who's got a $65,000 package and it's a 3-month package. That's a sweet business.
Pretty
right?
sweet, yeah.
And there's companies that have that kind of budget. And honestly, there's entrepreneurs that have those kinds of budgets, right? We are done buying courses that sit in our hard drive. We want people to help us implement and do it and take action. And there's a value to that, right? Because the faster you can help me with that, the more money I'll give you, right? So create a big fat 1-month fast track package, right? And double what you would normally charge if it was a 3-month package. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but you're going to give them fast results.
You're saving that time. Yeah, I get the transformation in less time. I will give you more money for that.
The sooner the transformation happens, the sooner the more money starts coming in, right? So. So that's what I mean by flip the funnel. We feel like when we go into business, we have to work our way up. And I want you to work your way down, because here's the thing. So many people want to start out with group programs and it's a numbers game. You have to have a gigantic audience and nobody starts out with a gigantic audience, right? So, this is where you kind of mold it together. Going back to the publicity thing, imagine if you are getting, I'll give you an example. One of my realtor clients, and now there's billions of realtors, right? There's a ton of competition.
Yeah.
And this particular realtor saw an article that was written in NBC News about real estate and connected with the journalist, shared the article with their network, tagged the journalist, said how much they loved the article. The journalist, of course, who doesn't love that? If somebody out of the blue shares a podcast episode of yours, don't you love it, right? And tags you in it, right?
Yep.
So they reached out to my client and said, can I ask you a few questions? Turned into a full page interview with them on NBCnews.com, 65 million people right now. At the end of the day, does that really get him any business? No, but here's what does, he's now, even if he has never sold a house before, he's the only realtor in his town that can say, as seen on NBC, and drop that piece of paper on the table when he's at a listing appointment to say, when I was NBC News' housing price specialist, right? So publicity can give you credibility while you're building your business. And then when you've got some money, you can do the things like hire the people to help you build the big audience to do the lower ticket things. Because it is kind of nice to have lower ticket things that just, come in, as you're doing things. But the numbers don't map, don't work out. Especially with Facebook ads getting more and more and more expensive.
Oh my God.
People say to me like, oh, I'm going to spend I've got this coaching program and it says to spend $25 a month on Facebook ads. So what is that going to get you? One person on your list a month, the numbers don't bear out anymore.
No,
so
the ROI is terrible on Facebook ads.
We struggle. So I want you to stop the struggle, go for the bigger opportunities first. And
so do you individually work with your clients when you're looking at those big opportunities and in particular around, well, be it business and or related PR or publicity? Do you have kind of a customized way of looking at it? It's like, for you, it should be this and this and this and this, or is it kind of like,
it's different for everybody. Absolutely. Yeah. It's different for everybody, so in our She's Linked Up program, the first thing we do, it's customized. Everybody gets their own experience, but there's individual coaching. And I have other coaches. I have a PR coach and a mindset coach and a profile coach. But our goal for everybody by the end of the 12 weeks is the first thing that happens is they get a call with me so we can dream that up. Let's get some clarity. What is the thing you want to land? What is the contract you want to land? Right. And that's where like Claire went from 5,000 to 20,000 and she's landing those $20,000 ones. Right. So we want them to have a contract by the end of the 12 weeks, have a contract for that and have a media hit, because the media hit helps them as well. So we help them build relationships with journalists and we help them create that. And it is different for everybody. But what happens, the interesting thing that happens, which is probably the coolest thing, is that it isn't the money and the contracts that are signed that is where the big deal is. Mm-hmm. It's the changes in their life. Like I'm thinking of another one of my clients she's a teacher and she's building this YouTube business on the side where she does YouTube videos. She teaches school districts how to use YouTube in their curriculums. Her own school district knew she did it, but it was kind of like, like her little hobby, right?
Yeah.
So until we came in, we rewrote her profile. I'm not kidding you. Within 2 weeks of just her profile being changed, her boss's boss reached out to her and said, how did I not know you worked for this district? Asked her to interview for a job and asked her, and which she wasn't even looking to do that, and she got a promotion at her current job and is getting asked to speak all over the place on this YouTube thing. But also her family started taking her more seriously. She was a teacher who had this little side business. Her dad reached out to her and said, we need to trademark this. We need to do this. So when you start to take yourself more seriously and you step into this in a more powerful way, the people around you start seeing you differently. And that's what I mean by the energetic shift that happened. Mm-hmm. It's where the coolest wins are, I think, and our clients think too, like, looking to get on the, seat at the table of the coolest thing. I mean, obviously, like what I believe is when you focus on the relationships, the contracts happen, right? It all happens. Mm-hmm. But if we go straight for the money, we're like all those other people that are pitching. But when we start to just elevate our brand, elevate ourselves, and just build relationships with cool people, which women are so good at, then the opportunities follow from those conversations.
I would think one of the things that women would need from you is, yes, they're good at those conversations, but those conversations that they're so good at rarely include the ask for the sale. Mm-hmm. Now, is that something you have to kind of re-encode them with?
We do. That's why we have a mindset coach. Because it is absolute. And so many people say that. So many people, like almost every woman that I talk to before they join says, well, I don't know. And I think that's why we have a mindset coach, because we are that it is not easy to ask. Women are so good at doing and not asking for help. Right. And so asking for the sale is not always easy to do. But I like to shift the energy around from the sale to the, like, almost the opportunity, right? Like what, and I can talk about this all day long, but you're right. They do need help with that. And that's why there's a combination of strategy and mindset when we work with people, because it is, it's serving more than selling.
I, it's shocking to me that I did not expect it to find out that your program entailed mindset as well. But it's like mindset is attached to everything, any new endeavor, any new level that you're trying to achieve.
Absolutely.
You
And a new
can't do it
level
with the same mindset you had
right?
before.
A new level could be going from $10,000 a year to $20,000 a year, or it could be going from $500,000 a year to $1 million a year. It's still a new level, and we still have to learn how to have the new mindset, regardless of how well we feel like we're doing. Right? Every new level requires a new level of mindset work. Which the older I get, the more important I realize that is.
I have to say the same thing. Yeah, if you'd asked me 10 years ago and somebody said something about, like I work with people on mindset, it would have been like,
I know. Well,
seriously?
I often joke, like, I'm the only person I know of that has a LinkedIn program that talks about your power chakra. Like,
okay, I gotta go back. I missed the power chakra thing. That's hilarious.
And it's important. You have to be feeling it and knowing it, and we actually help our clients, our students, with daily mindset practices. Like waking up in the morning and visualizing, who you are, who this new you is. In our program, we actually have a mindset video that's I'll take you through it quickly, but you're standing there today and now imagining yourself a year from now, and all this things happened in the past year, and you've made more money than you've ever made. You took cool vacations and you got to spend time with your friends, your family, you got married, you got divorced, whatever the beautiful things in your life that you want to happen have happened in that past year. Mm-hmm. And then we're like, all right, now take that energy, and that's the energy I want in your profile. Infuse the future you energy into your profile. Because if you infuse the energy of you today, then there's a disconnect, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, honestly, it probably took me getting old enough to be, who cares, to be able to say, I'm just doing this. I don't care if people like it or don't like it. But honestly, it might be I would say the biggest wins come from people that embrace the mindset.
Wow. So your program, it's, as you say, it's the strategy, the technology, LinkedIn, but also mindset. Mm-hmm. So if people are looking to up their LinkedIn game and they would be interested in connecting with you or checking out some of your stuff, how can people connect with you, and what do you offer?
Well, we have a free masterclass that is on demand, and it's a good way to get a sense of how we work and the shift we want you to make. And if that feels like something that you want to learn more about, we don't sell anything on the masterclass. You just get an opportunity to book a call with us. That's what we would love. So if you want to learn more about what we do and how we do it, the masterclass is I mentioned that LinkedIn is my money tree, right? Mm-hmm. Waterthatmoneytree.com, because you got to water your money tree if you want it to bloom, right? Things you got to do. Waterthatmoneytree.com, get you to the masterclass. And then if you feel like you want more of this, you'll learn on the masterclass how to get in touch with us to learn more. But honestly, how you're hearing me today is how we approach this. We are not we want it to be a great fit. We want people having huge wins, and we want people that are saying, hell yeah, I'm ready for this. And that's who we want to support. And some people are, hell yeah, I'm ready. Hell yeah, I want this, but I'm not ready for it. And that's cool. When they're ready for it, we're here.
Interesting. So, and I guess that makes sense until they're ready. Yeah, we're here, but it's up to you.
I want people to, it's because it's a big, it's like mindset wise, we're asking a lot of them. We're asking a lot of them. We're saying, I know you wanted to sell this for 5,000, we want you to sell it for 20,000, right? Or I know, we have one woman in our program that when she joined us, she's amazing. Oh my gosh, she's amazing. She really is committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion. She's a Japanese woman living in Hawaii, running this very successful business, but was hiding it, was feeling like she had to hire young white guys as salespeople because she felt like that's what her people wanted. And of course it wasn't working, right? Mm-hmm. So when she started to really step into her own confidence around that and just get brave enough to say, no, this is who we are. And everybody that we hire we have a diverse workforce. And, I can't even tell you the opportunities that are coming her way. But it takes bravery and guts to say, I'm going to just do it. Right. So we're there to help you, but you still got to do it.
That's it. It takes bravery and guts, but it makes it a little easier to have somebody in your corner standing there going, get in there.
And then it is so cool when it starts to happen. Then it's just so fun. right? It's just so fun to watch the opportunities come.
Generally, how long are your programs, or how long do people end up working with you?
So our program is 12 weeks, and we work. So the first program we have is our accelerator program, and that's the 12-week program. And we have it set for 12 weeks because we really want you. If I give you 2 years, it's going to take you 2 years, right? So
that's a fast win. 12
we set it
weeks
for 12 weeks, and if we have to extend it, we will. But we typically try to keep you on track, and then we have the client concierge that keeps everybody on track. You have lifetime access to the content. And what happens after the 12 weeks, there's other options to work with us. We have back-end masterminds and things like that. But there's also, for no additional charge, we have our Momentum program, which people get lifetime access in. They get lifetime access to the content. And we still do once a month Q&A calls live in the Momentum group. So they still get access to ask us live questions forever. But we're reactive instead of proactive at that point, unless they've joined one of our back-end masterminds.
Yeah. I mean, that's great because, LinkedIn's always changing. A number of times I popped in, I've seen you live and I've popped in. It's like, whoa.
I know.
Breaking news about what's changing. Yeah, you're pretty good with that.
Well, and here's the thing. Like, if I don't I learned, just doing this myself, that if I do too much in that 12 weeks, what I want you to do is learn how to get that contract. We dreamed up a $20,000 contract. I want you to learn in 12 weeks how to get it. Because if you know how to do it once, now you can do it again and again and again. But if I get too distracted, if I get too, like, there was something I wanted to cover today in our Q&A call, and I said, no, I'll do that on our back-end program. I've got to keep these people in the accelerator program focused because I want them to learn the process. Right? Because once they learn the process, then they can just keep doing it. But on the back end programs, that's where we can do all the really fun stuff. And blow it up and do it 100 times, right? But I want them to really just learn how to do it once. So we keep them really focused, but they tend to, our goal is for that to happen. And they, if they're doing their part, it happens.
And LinkedIn is the tool by which to do it all.
It's the tool. It is, but that is all it is. There's a part of me that really wants to focus on, as I build out my program, I want to be able to pull LinkedIn out of it and have it still be standalone, right? Because what we do is we teach you how to have a great personal brand. LinkedIn profile is a great place to do that, right? Build relationships. LinkedIn is a great place to do that. But there are other places you can do it, right? Yep. But we have LinkedIn, so let's use it. But LinkedIn is really the tool. It's not about LinkedIn. It's about really high-level relationship marketing.
And on that, I think that's a really good place to then ask you, do you have any last words that you would like anybody who's listening, who's been like taking all this in and getting as excited as I'm getting?
Yeah.
What would you want them to go away with?
Why not you? Why not you? Just think on that. And why not? Somebody's got to do it. Let it be you, right? Let's stop watching your competitors get the business, the press, the TV, and let it be you. Why not you, right?
I love that. Well said. Thank you so much for being with me today and
to be here.
Sharing all this. Be talking to you soon. Thanks. Did you know that podcast guesting, being the featured guest interviewed on podcasts, is one of the hottest 2021 ways to build brand, audience, and your business? To get your unique message and personality out there to those who need to hear it. As a podcaster myself and a business consultant, I help turn entrepreneurs into business people who can proficiently and profitably use podcast guesting as a powerful part of their marketing plan. Want to know more? You can download the 5-step guide below in the notes, or if you really want to get moving on it, book a call and let's map out how we could make it part of your marketing plan.